What's up, everyone? It's Mason, and I'm back to look at another astrological birth chart. Today, I'm presenting my interpretation of Evan Rachel Wood's charts. Yes, Evan was born September 7th, 1987 at 1:24 p.m. in Raleigh, North Carolina. So, hallelujah, we have a confirmed birth time. So we get to talk about the rising sign and do some housework. Get in deep. So Evan, been a big fan of Evan for many a years. I consider her to be my number one celebrity crush. Yes, I'm quite fascinated with her. Um, so really, I saw her first in the movie 13 from 2003. One of my all-time favorites for sure. In my definitely in my top 100. In my, I think it's in my top 20. Anyway, love 13. A great role for Evan. That definitely comes through in her chart. Her first role, I believe, was in Practical Magic 1998. A smaller role as she was young, probably not even 10 years old, but anyway, around 10. All right. But she played the daughter of Sandra Bullock's character. And another thing that I think comes through in her chart, as far as the movie. Okay. So yeah, 13, Practical Magic. Also, she was in HBO's True Blood. Huge fan of that. Anybody that knows me probably knows that. She was Queen, a vampire queen, Sophie Anne, and really enjoyed her in that role. Wish she was in more of it, but the times we did get to see her was quite a treat. I'm sure she had a lot of fun with that role. Yeah, that was awesome. Anyway, and then HBO's Westworld, where she got the lead role and did very well. Great show, um, intense show, lots of dynamic themes regarding um, artificial intelligence and the nature of consciousness. Um, another, I think she has placements that have expressed themselves in that show as well. I really enjoyed her in the Weird Al Yankovic movie that came out 2 or 3 years ago, where Daniel Radcliffe played Weird Al Yankovic and Evan played the '80s version of Madonna, and did really, really well in that. Besides various film and TV roles, she's also a singer, lesser known as a singer. It's like a two-person band that she's in, and beautiful singer and a great writer. And besides, the performing arts, which she excels at, she's quite the activist as well. A lot of people maybe not know her so much as far as being an actress, but being someone that um, stood up against Marilyn Manson and called him out as a sexual abuser. And Evan dated him in the early or the late 2000s and suffered some sexual abuse from him, unfortunately. So has dealt with a big lawsuit with him. Um, and speaking up for victims of sexual abuse, not only from him, but in general. She started the Phoenix Act, which extends the statute of limitations to report sexual abuse crimes. She had a documentary, which is on HBO in 2022, called Phoenix Rising, where she just goes more in depth on her experience um, dating Marilyn Manson and being abused by him, and her work with the Phoenix Act and everything. So, and I know she speaks up against the treatment of horses. I believe in like New York City specifically, or where they do horse and buggy transportation, and so she's like I said, a big activist, sticks up for things, aims to do the right thing, and also a very creative person, very artistic. So yeah, let's get into exploring her chart a little bit, and I'll continue to gush over her, I'm sure. So Evan, I've been familiar with the basics of her chart for a while, but I've went in a little deeper to do this video and have found a lot of cool things. But first of all, she's a Sagittarius rising, just like me. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. So Sagittarius rising, a philosopher, an optimist, a truth seeker, freedom seeker. I'm sure enjoys travel and exploring different cultures. Um, no, probably likes her share of study. Um, so anyway, Sagittarius rising, the gist. Um, let's see, but she's got some first house action, which includes strict Saturn and rebellious revolutionary Uranus. Okay, so that's some cool first house action. And then she's a Virgo, so Sun in Virgo appear in the 10th house, and a little Virgo stellium here, including Mars and Venus in Virgo, all around the midheaven. Her little Mercury escaped to 0 degrees of Aries or of Libra. And then she's got Moon in Pisces, Moon 14 degrees, Sun 14 degrees. So yes, they are opposite, meaning she was born under a full moon. And she is blessed with Jupiter in Aries at the final degree, and Jupiter will be her chart ruler, being she's a Sagittarius rising. So some fire. And then, of course, Neptune in Capricorn and good old Pluto in Scorpio. Okay, so down to the first house here. Saturn, the first house, classic. Responsible person, identified with responsibility, calls out irresponsibility. Lessons are perhaps important to her. In Sagittarius, um, perhaps she's got a lot of lessons that she learns throughout life, deals with her belief system and her philosophy, what she finds to be true, I suppose, and expressing that. Perhaps early on in life, it took her a while to develop a belief system or have faith in something, as Saturn tends to restrict things, or maybe it takes us a little bit longer to develop these kind of things. So Saturn Sagittarius might be like takes a while to develop a belief system. Um, let's see. I also think um, Saturn in the first house, um, it kind of forces you to grow up fast. She might have had a lot of responsibility early on, more than what's fair for a child or a young person. Saturn in the first house screams of her role in 13, as it shows the tagline, "They grew up so fast," which I thought was very interesting when I realized that. It's just a movie about, yeah, this girl and just the themes of teenagers. Just 1 second they're kids, and then the next, they want to take on the roles of adults, the activities of adults. Um, but are they really ready for it? Are they ready for that type of responsibility? That's the basics of what that movie explores, those themes. Um, and yeah, she does really well in that movie. I think that's a great Saturn in the first house example. And then Uranus in the first house, awesome placement. Besides identification responsibility, here's some identification with rebellion and revolution. She inspires change in society. She's a karmic explorer, especially with Saturn and Sagittarius. Let's see, and Uranus in the first house going to have the vibe as a different person or a rebellious person, just enigmatic. I think Uranus in the first house is very indicative of her role in Westworld, where she played a revolutionary AI. She She saw things in a new way. She knew how to do things in a different way. Her character called out the irresponsibility, or even the subconscious or unconscious uh, immoral nature of humanity, and disrupted that system, um, caused great change, brought it down, in a smart way. I'd also bring up the asteroid Ceres, as its conjunct Uranus, which I think is interesting. Uh, this asteroid symbolizes the nurturing style of the native, and having it conjunct Uranus, especially in the first house, just having it in the first house in general, having a big heart is a part of who she is, um, and being sort of nurturing to society. But since it's conjunct crazy Uranus, her nurturing style might be a bit off kilter. It's perhaps this sort of tough love, or it comes off in an objective type of way. Um, she's got a sharp intuition when it comes to what needs to change on a societal level, because again, this is a generational planet, and she is able to nurture people through disruptive shifts. Again, bringing it back to the themes of her character in Westworld. But not only that, I feel like she has that kind of aura as her in a as a real person. Okay, not just a character she plays. Let's see, and besides sort of a tough love on society, and someone that's seemingly helps us, or those that are attracted to her, enjoy following her or whatever, are inspired by her. They kind of look up to her, feel sort of nurtured by her during the shift. Like, just we can get through this with someone like Evan leading the way, I suppose. But also, besides all that, perhaps she also has, she looks up to other societal disruptors, as a way to feel nurtured. Um, so yeah, I'm sure that she would talk about all the rebels that inspire her, and what they have done to make her feel um, safe in this world, on a soul level. Okay. Okay. Let's bring it up a little bit to these Virgo placements. And let's see. So Sun in Virgo, and it's squaring Saturn. Oh yeah. Sun square Saturn, especially with Sun and Virgo. So a square is tension between planets. So Sun square Saturn, perhaps a little self-critical. She might deal with low self-esteem, as Saturn can restrict the ego, in this square. A late bloomer, perhaps, but also very determined, responsible, and disciplined with Saturn square the sun. You'll also see, well, and it's not as tight. It's a 8 degree, but still with Uranus square the sun. Let me push my buttons. Uranus square the sun. A very free thinker, a new thinker. All right, so picking apart her little Virgo stellium. Yes, Sun in Virgo. So her life force is earthy, meticulous, detail oriented. Let's see, maybe slightly worrisome, especially it's square to Saturn. But anyway, and quite critical, I suppose. Is a perfectionist. And then Mars in Virgo. A great placement for someone with the ambitions to be a director. I know she's done some directing jobs, but yeah, Mars Virgo, just like when I did Rob Zombie's chart, that's a Mars Virgo. Good placement for a director. Can, knows what needs to be done, and says it. and maybe likes to do lots of takes, perhaps. Um, but yeah, it's still a good placement for that kind of vocation. And Venus and Virgo. So, when it comes to love and her relationships, again, she might be a little critical. And, a Venus and Virgo usually wants to, you know, better their partner, I guess, just really serve their partner, I suppose. Let's, or do you look are you looking good enough? Do you need a haircut? You need have a nice, shave. Do you need to put on some deodorant? Did you make your bed? Did you make the appointment? I'll do it for you. Let me take care of business. Taking care of business, Venus and Virgo. Oh, to be loved by a Venus and Virgo. Evan, just, it's okay. Tell me, clean me up. But I mean, that's how you know a Venus and Virgo loves you. I mean, they might come off as critical, but that's how you know that they love you. If they didn't, then if they didn't care, then you know that they don't like you. So they really show that they care and they want you to be the best of you. They want to mold you, and you're not doing it right, and they're gonna tell you, but they want the best for you, Venus and Virgo. Okay, bless her heart. And I know like she absolutely knows her astrology, if not just her basics. She jokes about her Virgo traits a lot, and it's pretty cute. All right. And then yeah, she's got all these right by her midheaven. Midheaven is the public reputation. Usually it's like what we do in our career, things like that, what we're known for. Hey, so of course, Sun on the midheaven, a public figure, especially Venus on the midheaven. You're just known for being like someone who cares, someone with values that they take seriously. Their values are quite public. She went public with the abuse that she endured, and it's of great value to her to call it out, and as a form of helping others heal. Let's see, and then going back to this full moon thing, which is very cool. So it's a balance between logic and intuition that she goes through. I think that this is funny. Like her first movie was Practical Magic. I think Sun and Virgo, Moon and Pisces. That's sort of like practical magic. Practical Virgo, magic, Pisces, Moon. Anyway, I just call out little nerdy shit like that. But yeah, that's practical magic. That's logic and intuition. Someone that's probably great at giving advice. They can understand multiple perspectives, probably and that could also be influenced by the mutability of these two signs. Like advice as in a Virgo will tell you like this is how you be practical. Take these steps to heal yourself, or get real with how you're feeling. Confront yourself. This is how you move on or get through this. But also intuition and someone that cares how you feel. Besides, maybe being a little prickly and critical, but she also is sensitive. Yeah, like I said, cares how you feel, will listen to you. She's gone through, extreme emotions as well. So she knows how to relate and give advice. So yeah, fun, full moon person, practical magic. Okay, so Libra, Mercury, a smarty pants Mercury, I suppose. Since it had moved into here, maybe this helps her. Like, I get, if her Mercury was in Virgo, her mind or her voice, even like maybe it would be like it's the difference between because she speaks out a lot. She's very pleasant when she speaks. an appealing voice and an appealing speaker, Libra, artsy, beautiful, harmonious. Maybe if her Mercury was in Virgo, she would sound a little bit more like snooty teacher versus, um, lovely teacher. I don't know. Does that make sense? Like this kind of gives her that, she wants to get her values through, her goals and her energy through. That's still very Virgo in meticulous, perfectionist, prickly. But this Libra Mercury, you know, gives it a little bit of a nicer aesthetic. Yeah, a little bit more harmonious. But it is right on top of her south node, so that's kind of what she's used to. From a soul perspective, south node is Mercury, planet of thinking, communication, of thinking of others, considering others, being a voice that's soothing for others, caring about how others feel when she speaks to them. Very focused on diplomacy, chooses her words intelligently and carefully, as opposed to a Mercury and Aries. Doesn't care what you think about the way that they talk. It's not thinking before they speak. An Aries Mercury for sure. They ain't got time to think. They don't care if it hurts your feelings. No, no. Uh-uh. They're gonna burn that fire with an Aries Mercury. So a Libra Mercury will definitely be more harmonious and nice, I suppose. But yeah, on the South Node, familiar with thinking of others or just being agreeable in general, sticking up for others, especially because it's in the 11th house, sticking up for groups. But on the South Node, while like the South Node, it's not like a bad thing that she's like that. However, her North Node, her destiny point is in Aries, so maybe all this focus on diplomacy um, is kind of maybe keeping her from her destiny of independence, um, and sticking up for herself. Um, so yeah, maybe um, that's just a big journey in her life. Like, is all the focusing so much on the others or on the groups, is it taking you where you need to be? Or, you know, maybe it's like it's not bad for her to be doing that. Um, but maybe she's not getting what she needs to out of it. I don't know. That's my interpretation, I guess, with it on the South Node there. Okay. What else? We gotta talk about the Jupiter. Let's get in some more fire. So, Jupiter being her chart ruler, as it rules Sagittarius. So, Jupiter, especially in the fifth house of creativity and self-expression. So that's where she's blessed. That's where she can have a lot of confidence, especially in Aries, being independent in the way that she expresses herself. She probably seeks lots of personal freedom, um, gives her a competitive edge with Jupiter being in Aries, and also the ruler of the fifth house in the 10th house, the ruler of Aries being Mars in the 10th house. So maybe, being competitive in her career and also blessings in her career. Also, as the fifth house deals with children, I know she does have one son, and this perhaps gives her an independent parenting style, which I think is apparent um, with her with the way that she's a mother. But yeah, fun Jupiter. Be yourself, go for it, express yourself. Jupiter in the fifth house. I can do it. I can be creative. Yeah, I will express myself. I'll do it my own way. Yeah, fun Jupiter placement. Although it is retrograde, I've seen lots of astrologers note a Jupiter retrograde as like a disappointing partner, a disappointing husband, as Jupiter can represent the husband. She's had divorces and stuff, so and sometimes when a planet is retrograde, it's more of an inward energy than an outward energy, and Jupiter as it is like it outwardly expresses maybe this drives her to expand on a inward level, on a soul level with Jupiter retrograde, um, which is fun. Let's talk about Neptune, good old Neptune in the second house, and it's trining Mars. So a trine, just great supporting energy, a high five between planets. This trine gives her the ability to fight for what's right, and Neptune gives it that spiritual and moral edge. Like something like the Phoenix Act, I think is indicative of this aspect. A strong will to make her dreams come true with Mars trine Neptune. Spiritual courage and activism, very charitable, especially with Neptune, the second house dealing with money. Yeah, giving maybe a prone to giving a lot of money away, doing like spiritual work with money, I suppose, but also, using imagination to make money, Neptune in the second house. Let's see, and is trying a passionate drive for imaginative things, movies, music, television, that stuff. Mars trining Neptune blesses her with that ethereal, mystical, sexual energy. Don't I know it? And she is blessed with Neptune sextiling Pluto, just a 2 degree different there. So a sextile is two cooperative planets, also kind of supporting each other. With Neptune sextiling Pluto, these generational planets being sextiled, she is able to tap into the mass subconscious and has a strong intuitive power that allows her to gauge humanity's prevailing thoughts, herself and those born during this sort of rare aspect, have a sense of where society is heading collectively in an evolutionary sense. She is someone who senses the disillusion of the old world and has a passion to tear it down. Although not so much in a physical way, in a physical fighting sort of way, but more so in her ability to inspire others. She is dreaming the new world into reality. Her sensitivity and humanitarian approach helps to ease society's struggle to adapt to extreme change, and she is truly a beacon of hope. So I think the beacon of hope thing comes through greatly with Neptune sextile Pluto, and also that Uranus in the first house, Uranus conjunct Ceres. Let's talk about her grand fire trine. So, what's the fire trine made out of here? So, first, we got that ascendant in 4 degrees of Sagittarius, a fire sign. And then we got that black moon Lilith up here in Leo. And then we got that North Node in Aries right down here. So you'll see this awesome blue triangle indicating a grand fire trine. So it's fireworks of her truth-seeking philosophical outlook on the world, and following her destiny, of being self-sufficient and independent, pioneering, a warrior, North Node in Aries, and then also training Black Moon Lilith in Leo, not being afraid to be seen, um, to be dramatic, to share her beliefs, since it's in the ninth house. Yeah, Black Moon Lilith can indicate where we've been told that we're too much, where we feel like we need to rebel. So, anyway, and in Leo, need to be okay with self-expression and being dramatic, being seen, Leo. So yeah, that's some fireworks right there. Love that great big fire trine for her. A fire woman, a pioneering woman, a great philosopher, an independent spirit, a fighting spirit. Love that trine. All right. Especially with North Node and Aries, back to, the Phoenix Act and everything that she's gone through, um, and being abused, going to war with North Node and Aries. And again, and also her North Node is retrograde, so might be a war within herself that she's working on as far as her soul's destiny, and standing up for herself, getting away from the South Node in Libra, and trying to, just maintain harmony and, not picking the fight. South Node in Libra. Wow, what a chart. Okay, have I said enough? How long have I been talking? Overall, just a wonderful human, wonderful woman. Bless her heart and her practical magic, her great philosophies, her being a beacon of hope. I guess on a personal level, like if I'm sharing the world with Evan Rachel Wood, it's gonna be okay. But yeah, um, love her, man. All right, I'll wrap it up here. Thank you so much for checking me out, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.